with the Long Distance Trail Crew.
I'm going to step up here.
My name is right there.
All right.
Okay?
Easy forgets it.
Thank you.
Oh, there it is, yeah.
Backward, my name's there. Okay?
Bob the Builder.
All right?
With his hat
And
tilted
myself,
over
along
right
with
to
Eric, Chris, and Marty, who's hiding somewhere. Okay, where's Marty? Marty, okay. We're the crew leadership for the Long Distance Trail Crew. Okay. And on behalf of all of the crew, I want to welcome everybody today. Okay, this has been a wonderful coming together, the community, the trail work community, the local community, the park. Okay, so many different individuals play such a meaningful role in getting this bridge rebuilt. And we're here today to celebrate the fact that we don't have to mix and pour any more concrete. But I want to specifically mention a few individuals now, and that we'll talk a little bit more about what they meant to the project later on. But Jeff and Liz Zahn, Jeff is here today, Liz couldn't make it. Jeff, raise your hand. Okay, Jeff was instrumental in identifying the need to repair the bridge, worked with the park, with the community to develop sufficient interest to make it happen. Okay, he ran the fundraiser for the bridge. They raised almost $4,000, which was almost the whole cost of the work here for the materials. Okay, I know some of the donors are also here today, and we really appreciate that. And Jeff also came out, you know, it's not one of these people just puts his paycheck down. Jeff came out and mixed and poured concrete with us one day. So we really appreciate that and all the support from Jeff. I don't see anybody else here from the Trail Conference today, but the Trail Conference set up the donation fund for all those who administer the donation funds. We appreciate that. Okay? And then we have Arthur Seaman. Okay. So artist with New York State Parks. I'm going to leave it at that and not go into the big long mouthful of Office of Parks, Recreation, Historic Preservation. You won't hear that again today. New York State Parks.
Oh, I bet you hear it again.
And not for me. But Arthur and his crew were instrumental in they regraded the road so we could get into the sites. They could bring in their trucks. They probably brought in somewhere between 125 and 150,000 pounds of material. Okay, you're going to hear some of these numbers again, but literally 50,000 pounds of concrete, 50,000 pounds of rocks. We'll talk about the project later. Close to 50,000 pounds of millings here, and I'm not even thinking about all the millings that went into repairing the road. So it's a few 100,000 pounds of material that had to be brought in, and so I said they opened up the road to make this project possible, brought in our materials for us as needed, and Arthur, we really appreciate everything the park did, your crew and others, okay, at the park to make this happen. I don't see Paul and Maria from Protection Fence. They're not here, right? I'm going to try to be. Okay. Well, Protection Fence is a local fence company. And of course, you guys have all heard the phrase of good fences make good neighbors. Well, in this case, good neighbors made a good fence. They donated and installed the bumper rail on the side of the bridge. Okay? You're supposed to laugh at that, by the way. Okay? All right. And then we have the Bellevale community. Okay, John, Colin, Arno are here. Okay, they supported us in so many different ways. Okay, they financially supported the project. They came over here to encourage us, see what we were doing. They sent over their strong young men with strong work ethics. Okay, who helped. The crew did the first pour on our own and just about collapsed. They were out here the next day for a few hours, helping us to get the forms down, start putting the forms back up again. And they were out here for the other 3 pours. So we actually did one side of each arch as a pour. We'll talk more about that later if need be. But
Also brought cookies.
they brought cookies, they brought watermelon. They fed us at their community. And like I said, they brought strong young guys with good work ethics that helped mix and pour concrete. And I don't know how we would have gotten it done without them. So. Everyone. And they brought the hayride today. So you have to take advantage of that on the way out. And last but not least, I want to thank all the members of the Long Distance Trail crew and other volunteers who came out to help with this project. It's a big project, and we got it done. I think there were those who thought it wouldn't get done. It got done. And Arthur's folks drove their front loader across it, back and forth on it, and it hasn't collapsed. It's been load tested. Okay, so we're very pleased. Okay. So to tell you just a little bit about the Long Distance Trail crew, okay, we were formed in 2011. Chris, as I mentioned, is the crew chief. We have a few crew leaders as well. And we've grown to about 30 what we call core members or regulars on the crew. Okay, we work every other weekend, 9 to 10 months a year, 3 days on those weekends, Friday through Sunday. We have volunteers who come out once every couple months. We have volunteers who come out virtually every one of those days. Okay, back last year in 2016, we worked 82 separate days, putting in almost 8,000 hours of volunteer time. 8,000 hours of volunteer time and close to 700 what I'll call man days. Okay, each time somebody came out for the day, that's our crew man day. Okay, so as everybody who knows me has heard before, I'm very, very proud of what our crew accomplishes. I'm proud of all the people in the crew. It's a wonderful group of people, and I'm very proud to be part of this crew. So I gotta look at my notes for just a minute. I don't want to forget too much. But we had actually told, I believe, the record. Okay, if you're not with the record, you're with the Herald.
That's okay. We're glad that the news is out. However it gets there, that's
Well,
great.
we told the record, okay, back in July, that the elves were doing this work at night. Okay, and we thought it was going to be about 25 tons of concrete, under 300 bags of concrete, etc. And as we started taking apart the bridge and getting all the trees off and the debris, and Dave found out you could see from one arch to the other arch underneath, and wasn't sure he wanted to be under there looking. Okay, the project doubled in size. Okay, but as I said, we mentioned Art's work. We first came out on January 27th to look at the project. The water was fairly high in the winter. There's snow on the ground. There was that horrible wooden decking that some of you are familiar with. There's telephone poles and rotting boards, extremely dangerous for anybody to walk across. We took a look at the project, said, yeah, we can do this, we hope. Okay. And the first thing we did was, once the weather got better, we came out in April and we cut the boards away so at least there was safe passage across the top of the bridge. And then Eric went off. Eric did an awful lot of design work, figured out how we were going to build the forms, how we would do the actual repair work, and we started work on the bridge in the middle of July. Okay. For this project, we had 30 work days, okay, 2,500 hours of volunteer labor, and you're going to hear 25 a lot. Okay, so just kind of remember the number 25. Okay. And of those 30 work days, we had close to 300, man days, human days of volunteer labor, of which close to 290 were the crew. So this is primarily a project by the crew with that wonderful support I mentioned from the Bruderhof folks, helping to mix the concrete. Okay? So to give you an idea of the magnitude, we hand mixed 580 80-pound bags of concrete. Okay? Which required another 4,000 pounds of water. Okay? So that's 25 tons. Remember that 25-ton number? It's 25 tons of concrete, almost 15 cubic yards, 500 feet of rebar, 4,000 pounds of water to add to it, etc. that people had to haul up and down from the stream, and mix and pour all that. Okay? It took about 25 tons again of rock to rebuild all these crib walls and the dolphins on the bridge. The dolphins are the rock piles in the center of the span that keep ice from hitting the water, hitting the center between the two arches. Okay? But if you look on the side, you see all the walls on each edge of the bridge were rebuilt. Those are crib walls. As I said, there's about 25 tons of rock that Arthur and his folks brought over here that we placed. It's a good thing we got a lot of strong people on this group. Okay? And again, I'm just going to say about 25 tons. Arthur says millings aren't that heavy, but about 15 cubic yards, maybe 30,000 tons of pounds, I should say, sorry, of millings that their crew brought in just to resurface the bridge here, along with their front loader. And the park, we were not going to spread all this by hand. We were so glad, Arthur, your crew came in and helped distribute that and spread it and work with us. I think everybody had a great time that day. Okay. So that's a good summary of the project. We started the actual work in July. We finished the beginning of October. Okay, 2,500 hours, 30 work days, 295 volunteer days, man days of work. Okay. We were hoping that the muckety mucks from the park would be here today, as they say. We got Arthur, who is even better. Okay. But we did get some feedback from the park, so mentioned very briefly. Okay, so Bob Kuhn, who is the Deputy General Manager for the New York State Parks in this region. Okay, Bob was instrumental in making this happen. Okay, as he said, you guys did an awesome job. I can't wait to see it. And you guys are incredible. It's truly amazing we got this done. Okay, Jim Hall, who's the Commissioner of Palisades Interstate Park Commission, wrote to us, your team's done a great job. And Rose Harvey, who's the Commissioner of New York State Parks, so I'm leaving the rest of that off, okay, sent us a thank you for making this happen. So we heard from those folks. They're at weddings, they're at family gatherings, lots of things on Saturdays, but we do appreciate their support. Okay, so what I'd like to do is introduce Chris. Chris is the crew chief. Chris had a few words he wanted to say, and then we're going to turn it over to David, who has even more to say.
I'll be a lot more brief.
Wait, I kept it to 10 minutes, Chris.
Okay.
10 minutes, yeah.
Being recorded for posterity.
I think it goes without saying how proud I am of the crew and the projects we were able to accomplish and the support we provide to the hiking community and to our trail partners. What makes me exceptionally proud in this case is that we were able to provide improved access to Mr. Andy Wyant, who came out today, and to his independent living community. Further to this, I'd really like to thank Arthur Seaman and his crew for responding so quickly when we identified that there was a problem with the surface getting in by the gate, and he came in and cleaned that up, and so now I think you have pretty good access here. So again, thank you, Arthur, and Andy, welcome. We're really glad to be able to provide access to the stable.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, so
That was brief.
that was brief. So I want to turn this over to David. David is, one of our core crew members. Come on up, David. Okay. So the first thing I want to start with, though, hello, Sonia. Sonia's here to represent the Trail Conference. Thanks for coming. Okay. So, as we mentioned, we have a core group of members. David's one of our key core group members. And the long distance trail crew works on the long distance trails. The Appalachian Trail, the Highlands Trail, which this bridge is part of or was part of. Okay. And the long path, Shawangunk Ridge Trail. The long path runs from the George Washington Bridge close to Albany. I believe it's Floyd Thatcher Park, about 380 miles. And David just completed his end-to-end segment hiking of the long path. So we wanted to present David with a certificate of achievement for his end-to-end hike of the long path.
Much appreciated. His full name needs to be on there.
And then we have more people to recognize. And then we get to cut the ribbon and eat. What I'd like to do is David's going to go through the presentations. Okay? And we'll have an opportunity for people to speak then, and if there's anybody else who wants to speak before we have the ribbon cutting, we'll do that when David is through with his presentations.
How are these ordered?
Okay. They're ordered the way you asked me to order them.
Which side is the front and which is the back?
I'll find
Now
out.
that's a good question.
This is the front. Perfect. Okay.
Very good.
I'm going to hand them to you so you won't have to worry about what you can front and back.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave.
All right,
As you know, I'm going to try to keep this flight not too long, but there are a good number of people to thank and a good number of certificates to hand out. So if you want to stretch your legs or do your groaning now, this is the time. Okay, I'm glad you got that out of your system. The first award I thought about a little bit. The first award I want to give out is not exactly related to this bridge, but it's related to something we all have in common. I think everybody here loves the outdoors, loves their outdoor parks, and has a huge spirit of community participation and volunteerism. And this award is all about that. I'm going to present to the man who just spoke, Bob Fuller, a President's Lifetime Achievement Award. Bob was nominated for this award in 2017.
By Obama?
You don't get to pick your president on this. This ain't a democracy on this award. By the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. And the award reflects a minimum of 4,000 hours of service over a long period of time. In Bob's case, I'm sure that much more service to the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, involving field checking maps, field checking books, leading hikes, a whole slew of things. Bob is a sawyer, he's everything. He does it all.
And he talks a lot.
That too.
Now, although the award is for trail work, Bob doesn't stop there. Bob volunteers all over the place. He volunteers with the theater as a set builder and teaches STEAM techniques and STEAM skills to young people. That's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. That's a big deal in my book, and Bob is very deserving of the award. So put your hands together and celebrate Bob's Lifetime Achievement Award.
Can I get a picture of you guys shaking hands and picking the award? Or,
Like it like this.
yes, that's it. That's it.
As the
Beautiful, thank
LDPC
you.
looks on.
Are you going to give more than one award? You're going to give more than one award?
Oh, I'm going to give so many awards, you're all going to want to go home before I'm
You'll
done.
give me the list.
I will
That'll
give you the
work.
list. I
That'll
will give
work.
you that list right there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Whoa, look at that. You graduated.
Jeff's on, where are you? Come up and join me, please. How are you? As Bob said, Jeff spearheaded the web-based fundraising effort that pulled in most of the funds that put this bridge together. We're very grateful for that. But I think almost more than that, Bob, is that you were, Jeff, you were here from the very beginning. We were here when the snow was on the ground, and you and Liz were here with your dogs, chatting us up, finding out what the project was about, and you've been here from the very beginning. You donated your labor, you donated your brains, and you raised the money that helped complete this project. It would not have gone forward without you. Thank you for being, both you and Liz, for being who you are, friends of the Goosepond State Park, and friends of the Long Distance Trail Crew. Bob?
Don't forget this cool video.
There you go.
At some point I want to talk to the people, but no, whatever you're ready, should I do it now?
Say your piece. Go right ahead.
I'll be brief. Anybody see Hamilton?
Not yet.
The opening shows, and I'm the damn fool who shot him, Aaron Burr. Well, I'm the damn fool who started walking across the bridge, and the dog started it. Because they hit their paws, they were nailed, as Bob said correctly, rotted boards. It was horrible. The process quickly, I'll be real brief, because this is our park, we live right down there. Bob Kuhn was wonderful. I just did the research, and Bob said, you know what, it deserves it, but probably 2 to 3 years, $150,000. Good luck, we'll put it on the capital improvements line. What else can we do? Let me put you in touch with Sonia, this woman named Sonia from New York, New Jersey. She goes, you know what, we could do something.
Wave,
Let me put
Sonia.
you in touch
Sonia,
with
wave.
Bob Fuller. And this chain came together, and the lesson, and I'll shut up, was that a community, donations,
volunteers, people who love this area, all came together. That's the real story about this thing. These guys came out and they've been unbelievable. The budget was $1,000. Okay, we can do that. I put an ad in, and within 2 to 5 minutes, that man there, John Burleson, there was a donation for half of it right away. Sorry to tell tales. Right away. Email within 10 minutes after that from a family that hopefully could speak later called the Board family. They live over there. They have the original house. Their cemetery is in this park. And Jane Board, their daughter, says, how much more you need? 500, we got the job done. Look in your account, you got it. Within 10 minutes it was done. The footnote to the story, so the Boards, I can't thank
And
enough.
who's this lady?
So then they come back and they start their work. 1,000 becomes 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3. I think it was 5, and we ended up at 47. But it was an unbelievable journey where this genius, Eric, says, have you ever done this before? I ask him, I'm not stupid. I am from the world of TV and music. I have 4 Emmys for writing music. We have kids, they know me. Arthur, Kaya, Richard Scarry, Madeline. I do all the music for TV shows, Grammys and all that. No, I've never done it. What are you going to do, Eric? I'll build it, no problem. So, give me my minute. On behalf of Liz and I and the community, he's a nut, Eric. He's a nut, and he comes by, and he's drawing something. I go, what the hell is that? He says, I'm an artist. An artist? And he showed it to me, and it was exquisite. I go, what do you do with that? He just throw it away. His wife said, throw it away. Give it to me. I love it. It was a picture of the damn bridge. And I go, you know what? I come from the art. I'm pretty well known in the world. They know me. I have a lot of credits. I want that. We took it and kept that picture of the bridge, the old stone arch bridge. Came time just to show our appreciation. We blew it up, and we just said to Eric and the LDTC with gratitude, Jeff and Liz on. So it's for you and the LDTC. This is the original illustration. This is more. I'm done. Then they're not here, but protection fence from the board donated. Everybody's been so wonderful. The end of the story is that you guys are maniacs. You're wrong. You should have never completed this bridge because I watched it happen. I was there, and what became a little project became bigger, and I fully expected every one of you nuts to say, that's enough, call in the state. It's absolutely impossible to do. We're leaving. I said, let's keep going, let's keep going.
Back to the forest.
I can only say on behalf of the community and the donors, hopefully the boards can say something at the end and talk about their family, but I'll finish up. I'm blown away by you guys. As a guy in the arts, the tenacity, the dedication, I was wrong, you're a genius. You're It's not exactly perfect, it's a little bowed. It's a little bowed, it's a little off here and there, but it's just like all of us. But it's solid, it's secure, and it's a vast improvement. So on behalf of the community, we can't thank you guys, each one of you, from all of our hearts. My wife is giving a lecture somewhere, so I can't thank you enough. Thank you guys.
Put it together for Jeff and Liz Dunn. Can I ask those of you from the Belleville Community Bruderhof to join me up here? Who have we got? John Burleson. Have we got Colin, Steve, Arno? Is Ruben with us today?
Ruben and Steve are working hard as usual. Arno. Come on up,
Belleville
Arno.
Community
Bring your daughter
Bruderhof.
up. Bring your son up.
Please join us, everybody from the community. The Belleville Community Bruderhof supported us in many, many wonderful ways. They were quick and generous and absolutely essential to us on our monetary funding, as Jeff had pointed out. They sent their fine, big, strong men with really, really big wheelbarrows to help us on pouring days. I can't tell you how much we appreciated that. And you guys invited us to share your dinner, as dirty and tired and bedraggled as we were after a long day's work. You guys were wonderful. What I can tell you in all honesty is when we do our work in different places, we are thanked by many a passing hiker and many a passing group, but never have we been thanked for the level of support that the Belleville community gave us. You guys are amazing. Please accept some very small certificates that represent our very huge gratitude. Colin, please give this to Ruben. Arno, thank you so much. Steve, and our general one from the whole community. Thank you, guys. Everybody, you want to see that? You guys are absolutely wonderful.
Bruderhof put in the yeoman's job volunteering. We have Trail Conference volunteer shirts for all the Bruderhof folks that help volunteer. I'll give those to you guys. All right, thanks a lot.
Sure. Can somebody hold up a shirt?
Which side?
That side. That's cool. That's very cool.
Like that? While she's doing that, I'll just say on behalf of us, thank you to all of you for this amazing renovation, restoration, and like Jeff, we also will benefit by using it and hiking over it. And true to your slogan on the sign, you guys rocked this trail.
Wait 1 second.
So give yourselves a hand. Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thanks a lot. Yep. Thank
Much
you.
appreciated.
All right. Thanks, Bob.
The trails will cross again, I hope.
Appreciate it.
Bring those wheelbarrows out again. Well, Protection Fence. Do we have a late arrival from Protection Fence at all? So just a word about Protection Fence. Those guys arrived, and I really didn't know who they were, but I recognized energy and enthusiasm when I saw it, and those guys had it. They put in a hard day's labor with us and tripped all over themselves looking for other ways to contribute. And the railing you see on either side of the bridge are there substantial and lasting ways, and we can add beautiful to that to contribute to this bridge. So in absentia for Protection Fence.
Jeff, I'm going to give this to you to take back.
I'll
for
drop
him.
tail. Yeah, I know there.
Art, I see you back there. The next award is for New York State Parks. I'm not going to try to trip over that long name.
Yeah.
And Art, I will say that although Bob said there were no muckety-mucks here, any guy who comes in with his crew and brings in 75 tons of millings, concrete, rebar, and stone is about as important as they can possibly get. People ask me all the time when I tell them what we do, you guys just start a project? You just go out in the woods, find something that needs doing, and just go to it? I say, no, it's not quite that. We need approvals, and in this state we needed an approval from New York State Parks. They were the guys who watched over the way we kept this pristine site pristine. The tarps, the hay bales, the silt fences, those guys kept an eye on it. So they were watching out for your park. Art, thank you so much for your contribution. And please extend your thanks to your whole crew. You guys are absolutely invaluable.
Not a problem. We really enjoy doing this, especially me. And this, once we got this cleared down to here, and I saw that little bridge, it's like, wow, look at this place. It was really amazing, and I was very happy to help. I want to thank you from Parks and Rec and Historic Preservation.
Thank you for the help on that.
Give us the whole title.
Yeah, that's it. I'm regional maintenance, and my crew is road and tree.
Well, please extend our thanks to your whole crew for us.
Yeah, we all enjoyed it. You know, it was nice coming down here and sweating in the summer. It was great. But this is a pretty neat place. And,
Well, we sweated about 75 tons less because of you guys.
yeah, you guys are sitting about 6 feet higher than it was. Went way down here. All right. Well, thank you very much. On
Give it
behalf
up
of the
for
park.
Art.
Thank you, Art.
Park. Let's see. Now I get down to stuff that's personally gratifying. I'm going to start to recognize some folks on our own crew. And I would like to invite, where is Mr. Railing? I know you're here somewhere.
Why?
Get up here, Chris.
Here, add these to the side.
This crew does have a founding father, and you're looking at him.
Daddy.
Daddy. I need a loan, Daddy. In 2011, Chris took the responsibility for putting together the long distance trails crew. He had the good sense to recruit Eric Garnjos as our first crew leader, and he proceeded to put together what would become a realization of his vision, a volunteer crew with professional level skills. He keeps coming back to that idea. We keep failing him, but we're moving in that direction. But it's an ambitious model. I think the bridge speaks to the distance we've come under his guidance. Chris's commitment to the crew does not end with the end of our work season. All winter long, Chris is tramping through the woods, scouting new projects, asking those of us crazy enough to come out and walk around in the snow to look at them with him. I remember being here in the snow with him and a few other people in March, still ankle deep in slush and snow, scouting out this project, and there are many, many others. Chris is passionately committed to trails, trail building, and hiking. He has completed segment hikes of both the Appalachian Trail and the Long Path. I believe you have just become an Adirondack 46er.
Just got the letter yesterday.
Congratulations, Chris. Chris is a sailor as well. You won't find many people with better outdoor credentials than Chris. But I think for my way of thinking, what I respect the most for Chris are the safety standards you set. It's because of Chris, we don't drop rocks on ourselves, we don't fall out of trees, and I hope our husbands, wives, and partners appreciate that we come home whole at the end of the day. There is no individual I'd rather follow as crew chief than Chris Railing, and I think I'm not alone in that. Please, a round of applause.
That's why you had me on the belay yesterday.
Yes, indeed. I'm still watching out for that heart attack, though. You know?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Wow, cool. Very nice.
There you go.
Thank you,
Chris.
Dave.
You are welcome.
Bob.
More than welcome. Next. Chris, by the way, could you stand here? Stay. You'll be joined by your fellow workers.
Colleagues.
Yeah, Marty, I see that, but you're next. Get up here. You are next.
Marty.
Now show everybody what you were doing.
I was yawning.
You were yawning, yeah.
I was yawning, Dave. It's
Let me tell you that
getting dark.
I'm going to land the plane, don't worry. You learn a lot about somebody when you hike with them, and I've hiked with Marty about as much as I've hiked with anybody, and I can tell you probably what you already know. Marty is a seriously good guy. Marty, Jerry, I saw that too. Marty is undaunted by challenge, and I never ran into a problem I worked on with Marty where Marty didn't do more than necessary to solve the problem. Marty comes to work early, our work, stays late. He does everything. He climbs trees, he sets rocks, he's a carpenter. And you might say, yeah, well, so are the rest of us, but there's a difference. Marty takes his work home. I would say Marty puts in more hours at home regarding the trail crew than he does on the trail, and Marty never misses a day on the trail. So that's a lot of hours. And what do we get from it? Well, Marty's our quartermaster. Gunmetal blue rock bars, that's Marty. Sharp tools, that's Marty. New, I gotta have it equipment, That's Marty. I thank you for those knee pads and those expandable washcloths. Unbelievable.
Oh yeah, those are great.
Those are great. Marty is our publicist. We would not have the banners, we would not have business cards, we would not have a brochure if it weren't for Marty. Our annual report is second to none because of Marty. He does it all. So, Marty, you get an invaluable certificate for all your work.
What about his documentation?
You get our major appreciation, Marty.
Next year, we'll have a website next year.
Now I want to bring up the gentleman who I would say is most singly responsible for the success of this project. Well, Eric, I've never been here. Gonjos, get up in front of the meeting here.
Don't forget to sign the paperwork.
Well, what? I didn't sign in today. I can wait.
Many of us here among the crew think we know how to set a rock, build a crib wall, design a trail. Some of us may know something, but I can tell you for a fact, although we've read our trail building guides, I know what I know about trail building because of Eric.
Good boy.
Jeff pointed out a few of Eric's skills, and I can tell you that I've really never met such a multi-talented guy who is also so willing to share his talents and teach other people. And I think we've come along quite a bit because of Eric's teaching. Look at this project. This project.
Then you're pointing to Chris.
Before that, let me just say,
Look at this project.
we know a few things because of Eric, but there are things we are never going to know and only Eric is going to know. And this project is one of them. My story is that we built wooden forms to pour concrete into. Eric must have explained to me 15 times how these wooden forms would actually work once they were put into use. I didn't know how they were going to work until they were assembled and we were pouring concrete.
And you still don't.
I didn't have the vision.
It's still magic.
There was still magic. And Eric's got the vision. I've seen him, Bear Mountain in particular, look at a pile of rocks deposited by the last glacier in all their chaos and say, the trail is going there. Right there. And I'm going, huh? Where?
Right.
And there it went. Just amazing. Eric, you are our Obi-Wan Kenobi, our Yoda of trail building. You're our first man of Rome. I'm running out of superlative references. What I'm trying to say is, Eric, you have truly earned our trust and admiration. And this certificate doesn't even go a little bit to expressing thank you all.
You didn't mention they're not doing that right either, Dave. Don't bring that up.
Now,
If I may, we're nothing without the crew, right? And it's all about the crew. It's, nice that we had a fun project and that we were able and capable, but it's all about the crew and the camaraderie.
all right. In fact, let me pick up on this, and we'll land this plane by asking everybody on the crew to come up, please. All of you, all green shirts, get up here.
You look so comfortable, Gene. I know.
Really settled in there.
Maybe different chairs next time.
I saw you say to Mike.
Let me just close by saying, I'm a retired man. I left state service in 2009 and never dreamed I would fall in with such a fine group of women and men as this crew. It's been my honor to work with these guys for a bunch of years now. These guys are just the greatest. I love you all.
Thank you.
And I'm going to turn the podium back over to the good services of Mr. Fuller.
So before we cut the ribbon, is there anybody else who would like to speak? I believe the board.
Yeah, just say a couple words. They, from this area, they live here.
And they made sure we got this done right. Huh? We wanted to have good value. We want everybody to have good value for their money.
So these are my father's words. I'm speaking on his behalf, so these are his words. My name is Clarence Ford Jr., and I'm happy to be able to say a few words today about growing up on this land. This is before it became the park. My grandfather, Wick Seely Brook, was born in 1862. He was a milkman in Chester, married, and raised 7 children there. My father, Clarence Ford Sr., was born in 1900. Worked for the Orange and Rockland, married Rosalie Mann. They built their house on 17M, which is now the Ranger's house, raised 5 children. His wife, Nancy, my mother, here with us today, built their house in 1958 next to his parents' house on 17M. There was 2 houses side by side. In 1963, the Palisades Park bought this large tract of land, including property from LaRue Road to 17M, including both of the houses. There were 6 active farms on this road, Lazy Hill Road, at that time. My parents were retired and planning to spend their remaining years in the house that they hand-built and raised their family. They eventually moved to Warwick. Seely Brook starts in Walton Lake in Monroe and ultimately flows into the Hudson River. An old board cemetery is in the park, sadly in bad repair. There's also a cave further down where the outlaw Claudius Smith used to hide with his horse. Wow. As a child, my school bus traveled down Lazy Hill Road, crossed over this bridge. In the early 1960s, my daughter Brenda, me, also went on Lazy Hill Road on the school bus. Growing up, my brothers and sisters and I swam and fished in this brook. With thanks to my son David, my brother, and his wife Jane, and others gathered here today for their generous donations, we're happy to see the Seely Brook Bridge rebuilt so further generations can enjoy the Goosepond State Park.
Great. Bravo, bravo.
So I think we have one more deed before we get to eat. In this bag, I have some scissors, and we also have a giant pair of scissors. Mr. Raley? Yes. So I'd like to have a representative of various entities that helped out. Jeff, Sonia, Arthur, John, and the crew leadership. Come on up.
Hey, hey. No, sit down.
It's you, Marty. Sonia, come on up.
Come on, Sonia connects the Highlands Trail.
You can let him go, he's fine. Throw a hand on
All right, guys with the scissors, come on up. Okay, the count of 3. And we know what happened last time we did this. It did work.
We got it covered.
All right, 1, 2,